I'm a pretty loyal dude. So obviously I have to thank God first, but the Bidwell family, Steve Keim and Cliff, they all believed in me. Bidwell and Steve had a chance to be here from the beginning and kind of see the progression. So when I say I'm a loyal guy, for people to stand with me through those tumultuous times and be able to see the benefits of being patient and allowing me to progress. Like I said, I feel forever indebted. So I knew I wasn't leaving Arizona. That was never a question. But you got to play a little hardball. Play a little tough, act like got big britches. But I knew I wasn't leaving Arizona. Like I said, this place has embraced me in every way, even when I shouldn't have been embraced. So for me, it's an honor to be here, be able to stay here and work with these guys. And like I said before, man, now that this box is checked off, I'm trying to make sure Larry and Pat get rings before they hang up their cleats. Pat is obviously, let Larry tell it, Pat's obviously light years away from being done, but those guys are both older guys and they've been around this building and they haven't seen a ring. So now that this is one of my priorities was checked off, and obviously rings higher than that always, but we got that one checked off. The last thing is to make sure we get a ring in this building, and I'm super stoked for everybody that we have in this building. That one behind the center and Larry and Pat and all of our guys, David, Chandler, everybody. I mean, Buddha is so much optimism in the building. KD, David. I'm so excited for what's on the horizon for our team.
Was there anything to the timing of this deal when you get married this weekend and this happening before maybe you take off for a little spell?
Man, it's crazy because I was sick the last few weeks with the flu, so me and my fiance, we kind of, we were like, man, we need to push this thing back a day, just to kind of give ourselves a day to kind of get our bearings. And we changed it. We booked our flight for Wednesday morning. We're gonna book it for Tuesday morning. Yes, tomorrow. But we were gonna book it for this morning. And something was like, man, we just do it one more day, push it back a day. And then 3 days later, we found out it was gonna get done. And in the press conference on Tuesday, we were sitting at home look at God, man. Oh, my goodness. We were sitting here debating on these dates, and then we were just you know what, just do Wednesday. And then flash forward today. So it's very, very interesting how things work out.
Where are you gonna get married and where are you gonna go for honeymoon?
Charlotte. Can't say where I'm going for the honeymoon because she's in the room and it's a surprise. She thought I was going to slip again just now. I can feel her looking at me right here. She thought I was going to slip, but it's not. I'm still involved. Yeah. No, it's cool. I like to keep my locations private anyway.
It's a pretty hard week to top getting married in a new contract. Is that the
Yeah.
best week of your life?
Yeah, it's definitely top 5. I got 2 beautiful kids, so to argue with those weekends is pretty tough. But wedding in a new deal, it definitely is probably 3 and 4, I would say.
This deal was going to get done. It sounds like when you say Arizona's a place you always wanted to be, it sounds like you always knew this was going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Probably going into the 2018 season, year before last. That was I knew. I bought my suit. I had bought a suit then. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wear this on when I sign. But they told me, Mark told me, it was I don't wear a suit, man. Just get you a nice polo. I was like, damn, Mark, I had this suit for 2 years, bro. What are you doing? But no, it's one thing I'm blessed to have a great father. And one thing that my dad taught me early is sometimes people don't see what you see. And it's not their fault. They don't understand your vision. They're not supposed to. They're not in your brain. You can't get what I think. I can't understand what you think until you do it. So you just have to weather the storm a lot of times, and you got to go through things. God will test you and see if your faith is as strong as you say you is when you're in front of these cameras. You talk about, I want to thank God, and then God is going to let you, he's going to see. Is your faith as strong as you say it is? Are you really about me like you say you are? And I had the opportunity to go through those battles, and I also had the opportunity to come out on the other side of it and reap those blessings of him, putting his hands on me. So I knew this was going to happen 2 years ago because I wrote it in my head, It was just a matter of putting it on the ground, putting it in work, and making sure I can do what we did.
What kind of suit and where is it?
It was actually a really nice sport coat, man. It was very form-fitting. It was plaid. It was black, red, and white, and it was plaid. It was really, it was cardinal red also. It's not just like a red, like a gym red. It was a cardinal red. I had it all coordinated with my form-fitting turtleneck and my Amiri jeans and my Balenciaga sneakers. But I woke up this morning, it was 70 degrees. Mark told me not to wear a suit, so I was like, the turtleneck is out for one, the jacket is out. So I'm going to switch it up, find a nice polo, keep the jeans and the sneakers, just A little dabble. Now, I had to go work out. It took my whole day yesterday doing physicals. I missed my workout yesterday, and they were trying to do media right after I signed. I was like, listen, guys, I know you guys did this to me already once. I'm going to go get my workout in, and then I come back and we'll do media, because won't get a workout until 3 o'clock fooling with y'all.
So people who didn't see it in you, what were they missing?
What's that?
What didn't they see in you? You said those who didn't see it in you, you knew something other people didn't. What was it that you knew?
I was confident in myself. And I think that's what the thing is. I can't expect you to be confident in me. You're not me. I can't expect you to think that I'm going to do the things that I've set my goals for myself to do. Every goal that I've set for myself, for the most part, I've checked off. And most of the times, a year before those goals, 2 years before those goals, people are looking at me like, I don't know, that's kind of a stretch. And then fast forward a few years later, they're like, bro, you did that. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I saw it. And I think that's just all it is. I think with a lot of people, when you dream, people are going to tell you, you can't do that, because that's what they feel. They know they can't step outside of their box. They know that they can see themselves going further than what they perceive their life to be. So when they meet people that are dreamers and they know that they can achieve things that they dream for, it's a little bit brash, a little bit different for you to deal with when you meet that person and I'm so overtly telling you what I'm going to do, and you're like, I don't really see that on you, but I'm telling you what I see on myself in 5 years from now. So I can't expect you to understand that before it happens. But when it happens, I'll be glad that I told you 5 years ago.
You mentioned the ring, obviously, but what other goals do you still have to check off?
First is the ring. That was always my first goal before getting paid and all that. Because, being a first rounder, I had a chance to, acquire some money. But my whole career of playing, I've never won anything. High school, we were really good in high school. We didn't win any championships. They went on a three-peat like 2 years after I left college. We didn't win in college. We went to the Sugar Bowl. We didn't win in college. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the league, I still haven't won anything. So, like, for me, that is my main. Before getting paid, I want a ring. Like, that'll put the icing on the cake for me. After that, it's about fun, you know what I mean? But I think everything else other than a ring is selfish, I'm all Pro Bowl, that stuff is, that's stuff that I strive for, selfish goals. But that ring, if I can have that, that'll be definitely top. That'll add that one to the top 5. That'll seal off the top 5 for the two kids to win in the deal. The ring will be in that top 5 for sure. We'll have an argument back there about which one is 1 to 5.
Cliff talked about your maturity, your coaching GM talked about your maturity, leadership. When did D.J.Humphries really grow up? When he got to the NFL? Was it?
Most people that know me, and even myself, attribute it to my children. I had my son in my rookie year, and I don't know what it is. People say it all the time. People that have kids, they understand what it is when they're born, and you look at them and things change. That moment happened for me, and it was everything kind of started to make sense, and the priorities made sense, because it wasn't about how I felt and what I felt I needed, and what it was more about things that I had to do. And I think, I can attribute it as well. If you have kids, when they come out of there and you look at them and it's like, that's my face. I gave you that whole face right there. like I had some help, but I gave you that whole face, and it's like everything changes. It was so different for me. The first time I really felt like entitled to do something for someone else, that I have to make sure this happens before anything else, and that's a good feeling.
Leader for the first time then. Is that this year?
Honestly, yeah. I think this year, a lot of people told me that they had been, a lot of younger guys had told me they had been looking up to me, and older guys would tell me they didn't think I was as young as I am. But I don't think I was looking at it that way, because I've always felt like you can't lead someone without following first. You got to figure out how to. You can't just think you're just gonna jump out there and be a leader. You got to figure out how to follow it. I have an old saying, and I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if you can say it anymore, but I'm gonna say it. So I apologize in advance if it's bad. But my granddad always used to say, you can't be a good chief without being a good Indian. So that was like, I always felt like I needed to stick to the older guys when I was young, just to soak up as much as I could before I felt comfortable even pushing myself to the group, because I always felt like somebody's going to watch me. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing all the way right, always, somebody's going to feel it, and then they're going to gravitate toward it. I'll eventually figure out how to verbalize what I feel on the inside, and I feel like it all fell together for me this year.
When you mention people couldn't see what you saw 2 years ago, or what it might have been. And I know we're not going to be able to see this probably now when you explain it, but what do you see 2 years from now, 3 years from now from you?
My fiance gets so upset with me because when I started playing, I was like, yo, I only played 10 years. Anything else after that, it's just whatever it feels. And we was talking the other day, I was like, I feel like I just started my career. And she was like, you feel like you just started what? Like, well, I'm going to work with you then, if that's what it is. But I genuinely feel like I just figured out how to do it the right way. So I feel the same way that I felt 2 years ago. Like, these people have no idea. Like, they see the smile and they're like so happy, and I'm happy. But like, I just came from the gym, and we're already planning for these next 24, these next 36? Yeah, these next 36 months, trying to figure out how maximize this. This is the first time you get to really, you've been healthy. You can show everybody. They saw it this season, whether they wanted to acknowledge it or not. You can talk all you want to. 2 sacks is 2 sacks. I play in the National Football League. 2 sacks is 2 sacks. So if you want to acknowledge it or not, that's on you. But I know, everyone I played know, all of my teammates know the work that I put into this thing. So the recipe is set. I just have to continue to just pound it and stay to my course.
Okay. Go ahead.
You mentioned the optimism, the ring. How close do you feel like this team is to chasing a ring?
I mean, I feel like it's everything that we need is in the building. The core that we need is in the building. We're going to get your pieces in the business and how it goes and free agency and extensions and everything, but I feel like the pieces that we need in that building is here. If you look around to the head of all the position groups, we're talking about, we had Buda Baker and Chandler Jones in the Pro Bowl last year. Jordan Hicks, was he top 3 in tackles in the NFL? So I genuinely feel like a lot of people missed a lot of recognition. You win the amount of games you win, it's not as much the optimism. You can't see it from the outside in. But when you play football and you've been around, you've been a part of bad teams, and you can see guys coming to work and being professionals, not looking at a scoreboard, not worrying about a record. Like, no, this week we're getting better, and we're going to make sure that we're better than we was last week. When you get grown men, a room full of grown men doing that, the sky's the limit. And I feel like that's the energy that we have in the building. It's so different when you have a coach like Cliff that will literally look you in your face and be like, I don't know, but I'm going to find out and I'm going to let you know. That's different for a player to know that your coach is human, because I can be human to you. We can literally sit down like, hey, coach, help me understand this. And I can learn and grow, and this thing can become ours. You teach me something, and then we can make it ours, and that's when things go through the roof. You look at Patrick Mahomes, and you look at the stuff that they're doing now. They're owning it. It's theirs. They taught him everything that he needs to know. He's out there owning it, and that's why it looks like that. And I think that's just a part of the process that we're kind of going through, is putting those steps in place, setting the foundation of what it's supposed to be, what our bread and butter is, and who we are, establishing our dominance, and it's just building from there.
What can a second year then with Cliff and Kyler do for you and for the offensive line?
Oh, man. I think that those two, Cliff and Kyler, have so much, backyard football savvy and, blow up the scoreboard to them. And you mix that with Cougs in our room, and David Johnson, Kenyon Drake, and Chase Edmonds. I think it's just knowing football, looking at it from the standpoint of my lens, it's just what I see for us in this offense is just, I feel like Cliff scratched the surface of what he wants to do. You think about all the shortcomings that we had in the season and all the things that we did with our offense and the leaps that we made with our offense, and then you stack them next to our shortcomings. It's almost mind-blowing to see the progression that we made from one year to the other. And I can only imagine continue. We haven't truly defined our identity yet fully, and we made those leaps. So we can really go out and be like, hey, we do this great. If something hits the fan, we're going to do this.
How much did you notice that within the season, or was it more once the season was over, looking back at it all at once?
I think it was within also, because Cliff grew as we went. Kyler grew as when we all grew. We all learned the offense and we began to settle in and do stuff the right way. And that's when the optimism was like, oh, man, record aside, it's something brewing in this building, and everybody, and one is so hungry. It's funny to see somebody who's been on the pedestal for so long, be so hungry and so eager to win and so eager to be the best. And it's infectious, especially when you're so young, because it's energy with it. And it's infectious, and I feel like our whole offense feeds off of it.
Is it crazy to think you can be sitting up here again in less than 3 years or 3 years before you're 30 getting another multi-year deal?
Man, I really appreciate that. Yeah, maybe I'll save the suit for that one. Yeah, it's interesting to think about. Just I try to make the game pure for me, because I figured out early on that the business side of it will spoil it for you. And I try to make the game so pure. I try to make it so much about having fun and really manhandling people and going out there and doing my job to the best of my ability, that when you have to tap into the business side of it, sometimes it's like, I remember sitting down with my fiance, like, I can't believe that we just told them that, like we want more money than that. Like, I can't believe, like, we really, like that was a lot of money. Like, we just, like, you know what I mean? Just, like, but it's business, you know what I mean? Understanding that part of it and just, like, catching that side of the business, we don't, it was mind-blowing. So to hear you say that, it's like, I don't even know if I'm ready to process that again. I haven't even had a steak with new money yet. Let me get in there. So.
Do you talk to other teammates about that process, about what's worked for them, or just kind of how to handle it?
It's kind of more so just I'm a very observant person. That's always been my nature. I've always liked to watch Larry and Pat and all those guys. It's just very big about me. And those guys never acknowledge anything about money. Like, ever. Like, and they're the two richest guys in the building. And they never acknowledge anything about, hey, you do this, you get paid. It's all about, like, no, just like, I'm trying to be the best cornerback in the league. Like, I'm trying to be the best receiver in the league. I know, like, all that stuff will take care of itself. You the best, you get paid like the best. Like, what are you talking about? And that energy for me is like, why am I sitting here thinking about business? Like, I'm a football player. If you play football very well, it'll take care of itself. Like, and I think that's something that I soaked up from those guys early on, and it kind of made my mind shift very early. Stop trying to be a businessman. You hire people to be businessmen. Go out there and do your part.
If Hard Knocks ends up coming to the Cardinals, how do you think you will do on that?
I mean, I think if Hard Knocks comes to the Cardinals, we're going to have to put, like, a clause in my contract with, like, no acting events. Like, after that, it's going to be, I mean, Paramount, all those guys, it's going to be, oh, man, it's going to be through the wazoo all through here. I mean, like, they're going to be so mad with me. But I just got to figure out how we can tame that thing before it gets here, because I don't really, I'm not that guy. Not yet. I'm not that guy yet, man. I don't really want to. Hard Knocks will be cool, but the movies that'll follow it'll be overwhelming. I don't know if I'm ready for that part. That's the part that I'm not ready for. Hard Knocks, not so much worried about it. I can handle cameras, but the movies, man. The movies. It can get bad. The suit? Yeah, the red carpet events, Grammys. Is it Grammys music or is that? That's movies. Oscars. Yeah, Oscars. I get an Oscar. Oh my goodness. You guys could be tell me anything, Mark. No. Anything. No. Yeah.
Thank you.